Hello and welcome to another edition of What's My Story. I'm Napoleon Bell, and we have got a story for you. As a matter of fact, it's an author who tells a story in several books that she has written, and so I'll be glad to have her on to talk a little bit about her life, but also some of these amazing books that she has written. Let me bring her on stage here. We've got Miss Mary Hutton. And so welcome to the program, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited, to talk to you and learn about, the books that you've written, but also how you got there to writing books, etc. So we're looking forward to that. So first of all, Mary, tell us a little about yourself. I know you did you grow up here in Central Ohio?
Yes, I did. Columbus, Ohio.
All right, so born and raised here, and I understand that you went to Ohio State.
Yes, graduated from Ohio State University.
So you're a Buckeye through and through, huh?
I'm a Buckeye. Yes.
That's great. That is great. So let me ask you now: have you spent your entire life here in Ohio, or have you traveled somewhere and maybe made it a home somewhere else at some point in time?
Well, yes, my husband and I retired from our jobs, and we moved to California, and we lived there about 4.5 years. And then we recently came back to help my son with his grandbabies.
Oh, grandbabies will bring you back to, to home.
Yes, for a while. We're going to be moving again.
Okay, now you're thinking about going back to California or somewhere
else? We're thinking about Georgia because it's a little closer to the grandbabies.
Ah, I understand. You can drive from Georgia to.
Yes, we have driven that.
Yes. Okay, well, very good. So, that's great. Well, let me ask you about you're an author, right? And
yes.
So not everybody can write, and not everybody can think of things to really write about and write an entire book about. What made you to go into writing? Did you have a previous job that you did that for? What was the impetus there?
Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to be a writer. When I was in high school, I took several English literature courses, and I did a lot of writing in those classes, and I really enjoyed it. I got a lot of A's, and I always thought that I would be a writer. When I went to Ohio State University, I was majoring in journalism, and I wanted to be a television newscaster for a few years and then maybe get into writing my own books. That was always my dream.
Oh, wow. So your education, you were actually doing, journalism. So do you see that helped you with when you decide to start writing books, that classes in college? Because sometimes, you take classes in college and you're like, well, I never used that again. Now, did you find that, I'm glad that I used it? Or I'm glad
yes. I used that very much. OSU was very difficult for me because I was working full time when I was going there, and I was going to classes on my lunch break when I worked at the hotel. It was right across the street. So I would drive over to OSU, park, run into the class, take an hour class, and then run back to work. So it was very difficult to do that. But I finished my degree that way, and I got a lot out of the journalism classes. I did a lot of writing, newspaper writing, and my degree was actually in communications, but I had a lot of journalism classes. So I got a lot. I credit that to OSU being a very good school.
Very good. So it definitely did lay the foundation
Yes.
for everything that you've done today. That's amazing. But that's good to hear. And I think good for younger people or people that are thinking about college or what have you. How that has helped. You get to being able to then now write several books. So that is a good thing, a good thing to really put out there, and so hopefully people be inspired by especially just hearing that you would work full time and then go for an hour, go to class, and then come back.
Yes. And I have to throw this in there. OSU was the third university that I went to. I started at Otterbein College. I went there for 2 years, and then I
Hmm.
went to Bowling Green University for a year, and then I ended up finishing at Ohio State University. And I have to say, Ohio State University was the best school of all three.
Oh wow, very
So
good. Well,
not
I hope
knocking
we
the
don't
other
have
two.
any. Hope we don't have any Otterbein fans or this that.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the big point is that it really took you to a level that you kept doing what you enjoyed doing, and that's
Yes.
writing and all of that.
Yes.
Good, good. So I wanted to turn to well, let me ask you this because normally we we don't get to talk too much about families, but I'm sure going to college and then working and now writing books, you didn't get that alone. I'm sure you had support of family, and
Yes.
and so
And
you said you were married.
yes, my husband, yes, he was very supportive when I was writing my book. He left me alone.
Okay, all right. Very good, very good. Well, and I understand that though, just to leave the wife alone and let her do her thing. Good. Um, so now, do you have any kids?
Yes, I have three children, and the oldest one is Ryan, and very proud of Ryan. He was in the military for 4 years, and he's a graduate of Central State University. He went into the military for 4 years. He became a lieutenant in the military, so
Hmm.
he was an officer, and then he got the Bronze Star Award for his work in Afghanistan. And
Okay.
so he's doing well. He's a computer software engineer, computer
Okay.
software engineer. He has a very good job, and he lives kind of near Cincinnati in Mason, Ohio.
Okay. And what
And
about
then,
your other two?
yes, my son Matt. I have twins, so Matt and Megan are the youngest, and Megan lives in Colorado, and she's a community manager of a very large apartment complex building. So what she's
Yeah.
responsible for is for getting these apartments built and getting them rented, and then the company sells them, and then she
Okay.
moves to the next one and does
Oh wow.
does it all again.
Oh
And then
wow.
my son Matt, he is a sales manager, and he's responsible for overseeing all the other salespeople in an insurance company, and he does training and that kind of thing for his staff.
Gotcha. So it sounds like all your kids are good communicators.
Yes,
Definitely for one.
yes.
So they must get that from their mom.
Well,
Um,
they definitely do because they had summer homework, and in their summer homework, they had to take a topic and write about it and give
no.
it to me. So, yeah,
Oh. So
I
you
really,
you were always testing them.
yes, I thought it was very important for them to learn how to write well and to speak well.
Good deal. Excellent. Excellent. So moving on. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, or a lot about, the books that you've written. And I know one of them we wanted to talk a little bit more about, but Um, how many books have you written so far?
4 so far that are published.
Okay. So let me or help us lay people understand, what it takes though, because to get it published, to get a book published, a lot of people say I like to write a book, this, that, and the other, but the key, I guess, would be to getting it published.
Yes, there are many ways to get a book published. You can go out and find a publisher. You can Google it, and a lot of publishers will come up, and you can pay a publisher. They will uh, edit your book for you. They'll help you
Okay.
write it. They will market it for you. They will set up book signings for you and things like that. They'll
Oh
help you
wow.
sell the book. So it depends on what level you want to go. You would have to pay a lot of money, thousands of dollars to go that route.
Oh
Okay.
wow. Okay. Okay.
But
So
with
they.
Amazon.com,
Mhm.
it's a lot easier because you do all the work. You do your editing, you do your writing, you do the cover and
Mhm.
everything, the artwork on the book and the typing of the book. You do everything yourself and it doesn't cost you as much. And
Wow.
then you make money. The Amazon gets 20% of all sales and the writer gets 80%.
Oh, that seems like the way to go.
Yes, I think that's the way to go. I would suggest that anybody go through Amazon.com.
Okay. All right. Very, very good to know. Because although I'm not a good writer like that, so it'd take me years and years to put together a book. It'd probably take that long just for me to think about what I want to write about. So you said you've written 4 books so far,
Yes,
published 4 books. Um, and
and I'm
what are
working
the?
on 2 more.
Oh my goodness. What are the names of those 4 books that you've published so far?
Well, the first book, which I have here, is Interstellar Allegiance
Ah, okay. Yeah,
2088.
and that's the one I
And
want to
it's,
talk about a little bit.
yes, it's a futuristic book. Um, it deals with a lot of things that are futuristic, like wormholes, time travel,
Hmm.
um, alien spaceships, politics, future politics.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of interesting subject matter in it.
And you wrote
But
that one. When did you write that one?
in 2016,
Okay. Okay. So, well, and we're going to come back to that one. What about the other ones that you've written?
and the other ones, a couple of them I wrote as plays for
Oh, okay.
uh, for my church, and the we put on plays in the church, so I was writing the scripts for them.
Ah.
One is called Saving Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it is about these kids that find a time machine in their father's garage, and they get in the time machine and go back to the time of Jesus.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I see a trend here that I think you like the futuristic type of sci-fi.
Yes, yes, I do.
Oh,
And
that's
the other one is called Wake Up Call. It's written in script format as well. And it's about a teenager who is in a foster home and she's very unhappy there just on her own accord, not because the foster parents are doing anything wrong, but she just is sad because her parents are gone and she's alone and she thinks her life is just terrible. So she runs away just before Christmas and she sleeps on a park bench, and then she meets a lady who wakes her up and tells her, you know, come out of the cold and come into my church. And there was a play going on,
hmm.
and the play is about the life of Jesus.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And there's one more.
And yes, and the other one is called What? Eva wants, teach her to ask. And it's about, it teaches a 2-year-old how to ask for things. I want juice. I want milk. I want my books.
Mm-hmm.
So it teaches 2-year-olds
Yes.
to talk.
Wow. So you're going from a children's book, and yeah, I think children kind of parenting, but children's book all the way to uh, interstellar, futuristic books.
That's right. And there
What?
is one more. I forgot about this one. It's called This May Be the Last Time She Hears Me Sing.
Hmm.
And it's about a young girl who is a singer, and she's entering these singing contests because her mother wants her to. She doesn't really want to do it, but her mother wants her to, so she
Mm-hmm.
does it. And she's singing for her mother because her mother wants this. And then um, her mother gets cancer and is dying, and the daughter has to decide, is she going to be by her mother's side and help her mother, or is she going to be in this contest where she could become very famous? So
No.
yeah,
So
it's a very
listen,
moving book.
moving and cliffhanger and all that. So,
Yeah.
and what's the name of that book again?
This may be the last time she hears me sing.
Okay. All right. And so these books that we're talking about, can we find them on Amazon
Yes.
or a couple? Okay. Very
Yes.
good. So let's go back to, the one that we're going to talk about a little bit. I had a chance to read a couple chapters, but I haven't gotten through it yet. But the Interstellar Allegiance 2088.
Yes.
So, um, this is it was really interesting. When I opened the book and was starting going through the chapters, it's a book that you read one chapter, then it like forces you to have to read the next chapter, or forces you to have to read the next chapter because you're always wondering what happened. Um, but interesting enough, it starts out I think in 2047.
Yes.
So when you think about some of this stuff that so far what I've got to, um, is I almost want to say a comparison to nowadays in a sense, um, but it's just really interesting. Tell me how you just came about or thought about to this is what I want to write this book about, right? This is how I came up with this, or when you started to put pen to paper, what what kept your hand moving? What was it?
Well, I give all credit to God because I think that God gives me the ideas and the talent to write.
Hmm.
And so a lot of my ideas just pop in my head. I
Yeah.
could, if I'm driving down the street and I see a sign, and it says Wendy's hamburgers, whatever, my mind just starts going of a story about a little girl with red hair and freckles, and her father wants to use her to put on a billboard for his hamburgers, and she doesn't want him to do that, and so she starts rebelling against him putting her face on the screen for hamburgers. But that's how my mind goes. It's always thinking of something creative.
Yeah.
And so it never turns off. When I sleep at night, I wake up in the middle of the night and I have a pen and pencil and I just start writing.
Oh my goodness.
So
That's
that's why
amazing.
I give credit to God. I
Yeah.
think he gives me the inspiration, he gives me the ideas, he gives me the talent, and I say thank you,
Yeah.
to God.
Yeah.
It
Most
has to
definitely.
be from him.
Right. Most definitely. So I wish I had that talent, but I also think about when you were talking about just the Wendy's idea. Um, I wonder, and this is not writing a book, but I wonder how you would doing improv, right? Like improv acting or something, because if these things can come to your head, it's all a matter of, your mind is going in a mile a minute. They give you one thing to act off of, and boom, you've got it. So I I would love to see that, but I'm getting off track here. So let's though, with the Interstellar Allegiance. um, and it came to you. Um, couple, although I haven't gotten through the book, so I'm just wondering how some of these characters, uh, how I want to know what happens to them because just like with there's a character in there called Robert that I've gotten to, and he'd been caught up in a difficult position with a younger person, and but then he was blackmailed and so to run for president, which was interesting. So when I look at some of the things that I'm reading, and then that you wrote this and you say 2016,
Yes.
um, how some things so far I'm just like, it's just really interesting how this came to you, and then how in parallel or some things you look at today or things that happened a while you're like, huh, how did she know that, or how did that come out in the book? It's like when I forget the cartoon that they talk about that in a sense it's cartoon, I forget what it's called, but some of the scenes in there actually have happened in current day,
Hmm.
or like a Star Trek, and now you actually have phones on your arm and this, that, and the other.
Hmm.
So after you wrote this and you see how things are, happening today and or up till today, um, does that give you pause to like, wow, I never would have thought that, or how did that happen? And then I start thinking about what because the book goes all the way, to like 2318 or so. Um, and what can happen then, if your book, talks about it, you know.
Hmm.
So it's just really interesting. So
Well,
how do you
I
process?
have to say, I get my ideas when I look at things. So when I look at the news and I see, for instance, the first chapter is about a spaceship that is found in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And so that story happened, years and years and years ago, decades ago. And when I hear that story and I read about it and I go, okay, what really happened there? And then my mind starts going, okay, I'm going to create what happened there.
Ah,
You don't know what really happened there. There's a lot of secrecy behind what happened there in Mexico, in Roswell, Mexico. So what I do with my book, I start the book out with Roswell, Mexico,
yes.
New Mexico, and the crash there that they found. There was something they found, whether we know the true story about what it was or not. And I take that. That's my first chapter. And at the end of the book, you will find out. I will tell you. I'll tell the reader who was it found at New Mexico in that
Okay.
crash. Who were they aliens? Were they people? Were they, what was it found? They said they found bodies. What were they? Well, my book tells you what they were.
Oh wow. That
That's where I get my ideas.
okay. Okay. Well, I tell you, it is one of those books where it forces you to keep reading, and that's what I found myself doing when I was reading. And I love, you're very descriptive, setting the scene because when I'm reading along, it's like you can just really see it. And
Mhm.
it almost, I'm thinking like it reads like a movie, right? And so I'm really was impressed about all of that, and so I will have to read through it to see what happens with some of these characters, but I have to just tell folk to get it, grab it on Amazon and make it a 4 star or bestseller or something like that. Because once you start reading it, you won't be able to put it down.
Great. Well, I have to give credit to my daughter Megan for the descriptions that I use. I have a tendency to write just the facts, just
Hmm.
who, what, when, where, how, and why. And when she was reading my notes to my book, she said, Mom, you have to be more descriptive. You have to set uh, your characters. You have to make people like characters or not like characters. So you have to describe the characters and give us a little bit more about the characters.
Hmm.
Megan has done a lot of acting. She
Yeah.
went to California to do acting, and she was um, pretty successful until she decided not to to get out of it. But she went to Wright State University and took perform. You know, she got a degree in uh, performance something.
Performing
I don't
arts.
know. Performing arts. Yes, that
Uh-huh.
sounds right. And so she knows a lot about acting. She knows a lot about theater. For a while, she had her own theater company, and
Mhm.
so yeah, and you know, she taught a couple of classes in theater. So I took her word for it, and I put those descriptions that you talk about that you enjoyed. That was, you know, from her telling me to do that. And I also want to mention my sister Laverne in California,
Mhm.
who is an excellent English person. She spells correctly. Her vocabulary is very broad, and she basically wrote this book. I would send her when I was in California, I would send her a chapter and say, "Can you edit this for me?" And she would mark out sentences and put new sentences in. And she did that with every chapter. And I told her I wanted to put her on my book as a co-author, and she didn't want to be a co-author. She just said, you know, I just wanted to help you out, but I want everybody to know that she was the co-author.
Oh, okay. So it
Yes,
sounds like it takes a team. You
it
know,
does.
you had your team in place that were to
Yes,
make this happen. So
yes,
that's great. That's awesome. And also that it was family that helped you with this and putting it all together. So
yes. I
and
couldn't have done it without them.
yeah,
Absolutely.
there's nothing like family, you know.
Yes,
So excellent. Well, I tell you, I think we've reached our time here, but I appreciate, the time that you've given into speaking to all of us about, the books and it's not that hard if you got it in you to write it down and to make a book, you can make it happen. And you have done that. So, and we want to tell everybody to come out and get that Interstellar Allegiance 2088 at every Amazon bookstore around. Um,
yes, yes.
all
Mhm.
right. So, Miss Mary Hutton, author, talent, world traveler, uh, grandma, we appreciate you, and we look forward to reading more of your books. And once I get done with this, I'll give you my feedback. My
Oh,
critique.
thank you.
Um,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
all right. So thanks so much for being here.
Oh,
And
thank you.
all righty. Well, and we'll be right back after this message. Thanks.